What's good YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul and welcome to another remake video. Today we'll be remaking the Weeknd's Blinding Lights. We've all been waiting for this one, it's been on the list for a while, so let's get straight to it. First things first, let's go ahead and change our tempo to 85 beats per minute. And in this one over here, I know we like to use a lot of Logic stock plugins, but we're going to go ahead and use a free Kontakt library here. It is free as of today. It may be just for a limited time, but I'll place a link in the description box below this video. It is called Analog Dreams, and if you don't have it, you got to get it. It's those crazy retro synth sounds, those synth waves that the Weeknd is all over. So what we're going to do here is let's bring in Logic's Native Instruments Kontakt, and then we're going to go ahead and bring in that Analog Dreams libraries. Let's go ahead and bring that in now. So here it is right here. We're going to work on that first sound, the main lead of the record. And we're going to just pull in the preset that we're going to use. And we're going to use Analog Dreams for all of the synth sounds in this song. So we can come back and adjust this in a moment. I may adjust some of the macro controls there. Let's just draw in the MIDI pattern. And pitch that up one octave. Dun, dun, dun. Let's copy this over. Dun. Just gonna drag out there. Ooh, not move it. Let's drag it out. So here's the main melody. I might actually pitch this up one octave once again. Alright, that's better over there. Just gonna pull the release back a little bit. Pull that up a bit. Alright, I like the blend of the two synths here. Next, let's just bring in some of our own effects here. We're going to go to delay. Ooh, let's go to delay echo. And we're going to use the main preset here, pull it up 100% dry, and just bring down the wet. And let's add in some more reverb here. We're going to go to Reverb Space Designer. And we're going to bring in a large space. We'll use a plate for this one. And let's just use the first one, the sustain plate. All right, so that's the main lead right there. Next, let's go ahead and bring in some pads. So we're going to go ahead and create a new software instrument track, and we're going to bring in Native Instruments Kontakt. The Analog Dreams also works with Kontakt Player, the free version of Kontakt. So if you don't have the full version of Kontakt, it'll work with the Kontakt Player as well. Open up Kontakt here, and let's bring in Analog Dreams once again. And the preset that we're going to use here can be found under leads, even though we're going to be using this as a pad, and we're going to be using the ampere lead. And we'll see if we need to adjust this in a bit. Let's just go ahead and close this up. And let's go ahead and draw in that pad. So all right, let's continue that. All right, so there's our first pad. Let's open up Analog Dreams here. And we're just gonna go ahead and just maybe cut down the cutoff a bit. Pull up the stereo, make it wide. And I'll pull up the reverb to make this really spaced out. So pull that down a bit. All right, next we're going to duplicate this track. We're going to copy down this same pad, and we're just going to layer up this pad with another one. Let's open up Analog Dreams. Once again, we are using this as a pad, but we're going to go to leads, and we're going to go ahead and use the preset Crystal Enigma, right, this one over here. And it's going to be the same pattern. Kind of gives like that glassy vibe. And we're just going to go ahead and layer that out with this. All right, so that sounds good like that. Next, let's go ahead and duplicate this instance of Analog Dreams. And let's get to putting in that giant bass sound that you hear in there. Let's open up Analog Dreams, and we are going to bring in another preset here. Now, I know we want to use bass for a bass, but I found a nice preset that sounds close to the original under pads. And the preset was called Lethal Weapon. Let's go ahead and just close this up here, and we'll adjust that in a moment. Let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. We're going to start off on F here. Make this loud. Maybe we'll solo this out. And we're going to go down. Do, do, and then we're going to get this drop here. Go do. So it sounds like this. Let's open up Analog Dreams. We're just going to make this sound more like the one in the record itself. We're going to take our blend and we're only going to be using the harmonic detune here. It gets that crunchiness. Pull up the cutoff a bit. Bring some of those highs in there. Add in some noise, bring in that analog vibe. I'm going to pull up the volume a bit. Now if you're bringing it with the mix. Alright, so there's that bass. Next is going to duplicate this. We're going to create another layer to this bass, sort of like a sub bass to this here. We're going to use the same, of course, pattern. But let's go ahead and open up Analog Dreams. And we're going to go ahead and this time actually go to the bass preset for a bass. Go figure that one. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in the preset Gold Standard. And it's going to sound like this. So we're going to be using the sound source from B, so let's put the blend closer to B. I don't want it to swell so much, so I'm going to bring down the attack. Bring back the cutoff a bit. That's a little bit high. I just want to focus on the sub frequencies of this one here. So let's go ahead and just filter out the top end. Now you may need to be on headphones to hear this. Clean that up. There's our sound, or pretty much the bulk of the beat right over there. Next, we got to create a new softer instrument track. And let's go ahead and bring in Logic's EXS24 sampler instrument. And let's bring in the Blinding Lights drum kit, make it nice and loud. And let's start off with that snare hit, that classic 80s snare. Duplicate that over. And on this, we're just going to bring in Logic Space Designer, and we're just going to make this nice sort of vibey here. Next, let's go ahead and draw in the kick. And it's going to do a double tap here. And that's just going to repeat itself. And then right over here, we're going to get the claps. Let's go ahead and bring that in, those giant claps, the 2-hit claps. And it's going to happen right at the end here. Ooh. No, I put them on the F or the G flat. There it is right there. And we're just going to bring in a reverb here. And we're going to make it nice and spaced out. So we'll just play out that half end. All right, definitely giving us that synthwave retro 80s type of vibe. Next, what we got to do here is bring in some hats, and for this, we're going to create a new softer instrument track, and we're going to bring in a drum kit here. This time, we're going to use Ultra Beat. We don't use this one that much, but there is a 909 drum kit in here that I want to use, and we will use it. I'll let that load up here, and we're going to go ahead and just draw in the hi-hat pattern. Very straightforward. We're just going to go ahead and take our brush tool, and we're going to paint in this hat over here. Just delete this one. And let's delete this. Not delete it, repeat it. And it's going to sound like this. All right, next we're going to go ahead and duplicate that over, and we're going to go ahead and delete this up. We're going to put in a crash here, and I believe it was on, if I go to drum names, let's just turn that on for a second here. The crash was on this guy right here. Let's layer it up with that. All right, let's go ahead and duplicate this once again. We're going to duplicate this hi-hat pattern. And we're going to go to this right here. So it's going to be layered up with this hi-hat. Put that in the background a bit. Gives it a little bit some more ambience. Duplicate that up. Copy this down once again. And we're going to go ahead and just put it on a shaker. That gives some energy to the sound, and altogether our hat pattern sounds like this. And what we're going to do here is going to track stack this over here, and we're just going to group it up, and we're going to put some reverb on it because this is like an 80s vibe. We're going to go ahead and bring in Logic Space Designer, and we're going to go ahead and bring in the dry 100%, and the wet's going to be a little bit more down. And now we can control everything with this fader over here. All right, so that sounds good like that. Last thing we got to do here is bring in a reverse white noise sound effect. It's going to go ahead and bring that in right now. It's going to bring that into here. Let's go close that up. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to cut it here at bar number 5. Just going to go ahead and bounce this in place, and we're going to call this reverse white noise. And then we'll save this for later because we're going to need it. And this sample, we're just going to go ahead and go File, Functions, Reverse, and it's going to be a build up. All right, so there is the bulk of the song right over there. Next, let's move over to the next 4 bars. We are going to duplicate this bass pattern over here. And I'm going to put this down, and I'll show you why in a moment. Let's just copy over the things that we need. We need our kick. We need our our snare and kick. All right, so on this bass, we're going to go ahead and bring in an EQ, and we're just going to filter out the top end. Same pattern. And then we're going to go ahead and duplicate this track. We're going to bring in another instance of Analog Dreams here. And we're going to bring in a preset. It can be found under Synth Lead. Let's go to Synth Lead. And we're going to go ahead and bring in the Crystal Enigma preset once again. And let's go ahead and just draw in that pattern. There's like a sub pattern here on the verses. So it's going to go something like this. I'm going to change back to a pencil tool. duplicate that over. We're going to take that out. Let's go ahead and duplicate this over. And then we're going to go ahead and just draw in a pattern here. It's going to go like this. And that's just going to repeat itself. Now on this sound, let's go ahead and just manipulate it a little bit here. Pull up the delay a little bit. Pull up the reverb as well. Pull up the volume as well. Then I'm going to bring in Logic Space Designer. I'm going to make this even a little bit more fuller. We're going to go back to that plate reverb, large space, plate reverb, sustain plate. Make this really spaced out. And now because of that, reverbs can cause a little bit of muddiness. Let's go ahead and EQ that a bit. We're just going to take out the top end. We don't need it to be so high. And let's filter out some of the muddiness. Alright, so that's for that section. Next, let's go ahead and just duplicate this over. We're going to go back to our drum kit over here, duplicate that. And a new sound is going to come in. It's like this little perk sound. It happens in the background, sort of like a cowbell. And we're just going to go something like this. I'm just going to take out this reverb here. And that just repeats itself. And I'm just going to add in an EQ here. It's going to cut out a lot of the top end. It's not going to be too prevalent in the background. And let's cut out some of this low end here. And let's bring back this reverb here. I'm just going to put it after the EQ. And pull that down a bit. All right, so that's for that section right over there. And then our claps come back in here. So at the end of the measure. And then it goes into another section over here. What we're going to do is we are going to copy over all of our pads. Let's copy this over. We're going to go back up to the regular bass. We're going to bring in this sub bass as well. The kick and snare repeats itself. The perks do not come in, but the clap does. And that's pretty much it for here. Except everything stops at the fourth measure. So I'm going to cut this back here. And then we're going to go ahead and create another instance of Analog Dreams. And there's another sub melody that goes right over here. So let's go ahead and actually bring in the sound first. Take off the settings and then we'll draw in the pattern. So for this one over here, we're just going to go over to Plux and we're going to go to Cosmic Bambino. We'll come back in a moment to adjust the sound if we need to, but let's just draw in that pattern. So this just follows the notes of the chord. going to duplicate that over. And then we're going to go down here. Ooh. Just going to isolate this section here. And then we're going to duplicate that over. I'm going to switch this up here. And then for the last measure, it's going to go something like this. Just duplicate that over. Except I'm going to take this out and I'll put this here. And then it sounds like this with everything together. So it kind of gives that suspense building up to the chorus. So for this sound here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to pull up the noise a bit here. Make it more clicky. And I'm just going to bring in the EQ. It doesn't need to be so bright. Let's just reset the default here. And I'm going to cut out some of the top end. And we'll cut out some of the bass. Okay, so that's it for all the melodies over there and the programming. Next, we just got to bring in here a reverse crash. So I'm just going to drag that in. It's going to happen right at the end of this measure over here. And then it goes into the next pattern. And what we get here is the secondary pad. We're going to get the two basses. So the one bass, and actually, I'm just going to copy it from here. This. Copy that over. And then we're going to get the drums. And then we're going to get the clap as well. We're going to bring in our hi-hats and the crash as well. Actually, maybe I'll take out the crash. It's going to sound like this. Take out the crash. We're going to bring in this white noise again, the reverse white noise, build up. Actually, maybe we'll use the not reverse white noise. So the crash goes into this white noise. Acts as a nice transition. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this over. We're gonna bring in that first pad. So it's gonna sound a little bit fuller, and we're building up to the chorus. All right, for this one, we're gonna go ahead and bring in this reverse white noise. We're gonna bring in this crash once again. And we're gonna bring in this last sound. It's like an effects riser. I'm just gonna bring it in here. It's just going to build up. It's going to go like this. But for this sound, we just want to automate it a bit. So I'm going to bring up the volume automation, and it's just going to be built up just like this. And for this, maybe I'll add in a little bit of chorus just to make it a little bit fatter. All right, something like that. And then we come into our huge chorus once again. Just going to copy that over, and then it essentially repeats itself. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this over, and it goes back into the verse. Let's copy that over. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Listen to the beat that we just put together, The Weeknd's Blinding Lights. Let's go. And that right there is The Weeknd's Blinding Lights. Essentially what just happens now, it just duplicates itself over and the verse builds up again into that chorus. So that's how you remake The Weeknd's Blinding Lights. For your Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you guys. Place that as a downloadable link in the description box below this video. If you're non-Logic users out there, got your back as well. I'm going to go and export all the MIDI stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum sounds and the drum kit that we heard. You can find that plate pack in the description box below this video. If you haven't already, click the link below this video as well and download Analog Dreams if you don't have it. It works with Contact Player as well, so just get it. It's free, has a lot of really good synthwave sounds, retro synths that you can apply to your productions. One of which being the Weeknd type of songs, or maybe Metro Boomin type of songs. That's it for me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. It did go a little long, but that's okay. Hopefully you all have a fantastic day. If you did like this video, remember thumbs up, share it, and of course hit that subscribe button for more good videos like this one. I'll talk to y'all soon. Later. Peace.